All right. What up, tycoons? What up, traders? Today's video, we're going to break down Polkadot, okay? Ticker symbol DOT. We're going to go over why it fell 50%. But really, what we're going to do is we're going to start over the most recent breakout, okay? I'm going to give you the price targets to the upside, what may happen, right, if that doesn't play out. And then eventually, throughout the end of this video, we're going to completely go over the whole history of the chart. You're going to learn so much in this video. So make sure to subscribe and smash the like button if you haven't. All right. And we'll just break it down. Okay. We're going to learn about chart patterns. We're going to go over divergences. Okay. In the, cryptocurrency price and also the relative strength index. It's a very good indicator. And then we're also going to cover the Fibonacci's, okay, and using the fibs and how it can give you some valid price targets either to the upside or to the downside, okay? So let's just jump straight into it and we'll get right into it right here. So what we had initially was a pattern known as a descending wedge indicated by this trend line here and this trend line here. This is a bullish pattern, okay? So when you see a descending wedge or a falling wedge, you're looking for a breakout to the upside. And in a perfect world scenario, it's going to come back up all the way to the beginning of where the pattern started. All right, so here's a great example of what's known as a fake out breakout, okay? So we got a breakout, but look at where we found resistance. We found resistance right at here between the 38.2 and the 61.8 retracement levels. All right. Those are Fibonacci numbers. And what they're used for, right? The 61.8 is the golden ratio that exists all throughout nature, the stock market, and the cryptocurrency market. It's a very valid level of retracement, right? So nothing is going to go straight down in a straight line or straight up in a straight line. You're going to have a sharp move, a retracement of that move, and then a continuation, okay, either to the downside or you're going to come down, retrace, pull back, and break through that retracement level and try to start a reversal of the initial pattern. Okay. So what we see here is we got a very nice rejection near our 61.8% level. Okay. We came up, we broke through the 38.2, we broke through the 50%. We were not able to break through the 61.8 and reach the perfect world scenario of hitting the top of the target on this pattern. Now, with that being said, we did get a very perfect world scenario of a head and shoulders, right? Here's our left shoulder, here's our head, here's our right shoulder. In a perfect trading world, you're going to come up, okay, make this pattern and go down exactly to where the pattern started, okay, and where it began. If you notice, we got a full pattern play out right there on the head and shoulders. And more recently, what we're looking at is this descending wedge, okay? Again, this bullish pattern. So you have to ask yourself two questions, right? Is this going to be another fake out breakout, right? Where we come up and do not hit our perfect world scenario right up here, which is at the 38.2 retracement of the most recent highs to lows. When I say the most recent highs to lows, what I've done is taken this high up here, okay, and use the fibs and taken it to this low right here. And we see that if we were to retrace this sharp move to the downside, these are the numbers that the crypto is going to be attracted to, right? This is the numbers that the token, the coin is going to be attracted to. It's 7.22, 7.69, and 8.17. So if this pattern does play out perfectly, we are at least going to come to 7.22. Now, as I said, we just have to keep in mind that we may not be able to get a full perfect world scenario play out on the pattern, right? We look here, it was supposed to come up to 1253 and it topped out at 970. So keep that in mind. Lots of bearish news came out in the stock market with tech companies, specifically Google, okay, and Microsoft. That tech sell off may convert into the cryptocurrency market. Cryptocurrency is nothing more than tech. It is just software. Okay. At the end of the day, people try to make it out to be something it's not. It's software that's going to revolutionize the world once regulation is in place. We haven't gotten that regulation yet. So for now, we just have to pay attention to the technicals and wait for that regulation to come in that will open the floodgate and bring trillions of dollars into the cryptocurrency market. So right now, we're looking to see if we are going to be able to get the full breakout all the way up to about 7.22. If we do want to break out past 7.22, we have valid price targets of 769 and 8.17 to the upside. All right. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And then we'll go ahead and break down some of the past of the chart and look at all of the signs and warning signals you had of when it was going to drop over 50% many, many times. Oh, if we just go back just a little bit, okay, here's that wedge that we were just looking at previously. Here was a great sign, okay. We're gonna break down the bullish sign first and then the sell signal afterwards. We actually had two sell signals, and I'll break it down for you. So initially what we had was something known as bullish divergence, right? And so what I'm going to cover there is essentially you're going to look for a lower low, okay, a low here and a lower low here, but the relative strength index had a low here and a higher low there, right? So this is in a downtrend. This is in a slight uptrend. That's an indicator you may see some bullish activity in the future. And we can look from those lows up to the highs that it reached. All right. That was about a 70% move. Okay. So very profitable trade if you were to capitalize off of that signal using the bullish divergence as a signal, right? But in that process of this nice rally up, we created a rising wedge. Okay. It's the exact opposite of the pattern we just looked at, known as the falling wedge or descending wedge. So you're going to see the price action zigzag in between here until you break this trend line to the bottom, and you're going to have a sharp move to the downside, right? In a perfect world scenario, it's going to come out to the very bottom of where this pattern started. And we were able to get that over here. But we really got two sell signals. Okay. So the first one was the rising wedge. And once we broke that trend line, we had a very bearish candle right here that broke that trend line. We consolidated and then pushed down lower. Very, very textbook technical analysis, right? Now, in that process, we created a bear flag. Okay. So you have a sharp move down to make a bear flag, and then you get this bullish channel. Okay. Sometimes it's just sideways. Sometimes it's a little bit different, but the way that I really like to chart them the most is through a channel, right? So we have the sharp move to the downside. We get our bullish channel right here. This is a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of retracement, right? So if we look, we took the swing high and we took the swing low right here, and we have our fib levels right here. Look at where we get rejected, the 38.2% level, right? We top out at that level. We come down. We have a very nice bearish candlestick right here. We break down, get a perfect retest, and then drop lower. Okay, so here was our initial sell signal. Boom, we drop down. Then we get the bear flag after the initial drop. We get a perfect breakdown, retest, and drop lower. And let's look at that measured move. Okay, from the highs up here all the way down. That was, I believe, about a 70% drop. Yeah. So look at that, 69%. Huge, huge drop there. Okay. And this really was your signal here. Okay. If you didn't believe this massive move down, once you looked at the fibs and saw that the retracement got rejected at the 38.2 level, then that was your signal that, okay, we didn't make it up to the golden ratio at 61.8. We got rejected at the 38.2, and then we broke this channel. Clear signs of a downtrend and sell signals, right? And so I've used the fibs multiple times in this video just to really break it down for you guys, right? So look at our swing high right here to our swing low. Nothing moves in one direction, right? You're going to come down, retrace, okay, and look at where we get stopped out at, in between the 50% and the 61.8%, okay? We come down, get rejected there, and we continue heading lower. So, these are really, really valid tools that you can add to your arsenal, add to your weapon belt, because trading is like going to battle. It's like going to war. You don't want to go to war unprepared without the right weapons, right? You never bring a knife to a gunfight. That's a very common saying. And, not to, overemphasize or reiterate, but again, we have a swing high to swing low, we come up, we retrace, get rejected in between the 50% and 61.8%, and then head back lower. If we were to break these levels, okay, then that's when most likely we'll see a reversal and continue an uptrend. So if you want to know if DOT or Polkadot is going to reverse, use the fibs, use the 61.8. If it breaks through there and holds that level as support and comes up higher, comes back down, retests it and holds it as support and goes higher, then you have a strong chance of being in a reversal or an uptrend. Okay. We're going to look at it one more time from the swing high to the swing low. We come down, we retrace. All right. And look at where we get stopped out at. All right. We come down, retrace, hit resistance right here at the 61.8, push back lower. All right. It's happened over and over and over on the Polkadot chart. And until we're able to break that 61.8% level, this cryptocurrency is going to continue dropping, right? We have to be able to break that retracement level and start an uptrend rather than a retracement for a continuation of a downtrend. Okay. The next thing we're going to go over is going to be this head and shoulders pattern. So I showed you guys a head and shoulders pattern earlier. What makes this head and shoulders pattern different, all right, is going to be the relative strength index. So take a look at the bottom of the screen down here, the RSI. We have a high here. We have a lower high here. Look how we're clearly in an uptrend. We're making a high and then a higher high up here, right? So clearly this is an uptrend. The relative strength index is in a downtrend. This is very important. Okay. What it's telling you is that this stock, this crypto, this token is, as the price is increasing on it, the strength of it is getting weaker and weaker. All right. That is known as bearish divergence. It's an indicator you may see bearish activity in the future. We won't even go from the highs all the way down to the bottoms. All right. And measure that. We'll just take a look at the highs down to this drop. That was 57%, guys. I mean, can you imagine putting 10K in, not seeing these signals and thinking, and just panicking, right? You're completely panicking, right? You just put 10K in, you're down 57%. You just flushed 5K down the toilet. All right. So that's the whole purpose of this video. Is I'm really trying to teach some technical analysis. It's super, super important, especially with crypto. Most of the trading is done by algos. Okay. 70% of trading in stock markets and cryptocurrency markets is done by algorithms, whether you believe it or not. Okay. So all that big money, all those whales that you see and you hear about, those are institutional orders, most likely flowing through an algorithm, right? They're putting in complex algorithms to try to determine whether they should buy and sell. And they're using these signals just like we should use these signals. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to look at, okay, as we dive back into the past, is actually a bullish pattern, right? It's known as a bull flag. So we had this very sharp move up indicated by our flag pole right here. This is our flag pole. Here's the actual flag. Okay, we get a nice breakout of that trend line and have a very dramatic move to the upside. Big gains there. Okay, but I do want to highlight, even then, we had some bearish divergence. So look how we made a high and a higher high. We had a high and a lower high right here. That also was a very dramatic drop, whether you realize it or not. This shook a lot of retail traders out of the game. Okay. In just a few days, this thing dropped 35%. And, a lot of people sold out right here. They closed their positions. Big money is coming in and buying these positions, pushing the price up and breaking out of this bear flag. Okay. Or bull flag. All right. Right here, we have a bear flag combined with a head and shoulders. All right. So let me actually zoom in just a little bit more on this chart so you guys can see it a little bit clearer and everything's nice and clean. All right. If we take a look, we can see here. All right, we have our sharp move to the downside. We have that bull channel that I was talking about where we're consolidating, okay, absorbing this very dramatic move to the downside. And then in that bullish channel, we actually formed a head and shoulders. We have a left shoulder right here, a head, a right shoulder. And once we broke that trend line, we had a nice move to the downside, okay? Now, before that, what we experienced was, again, bearish divergence, right? So we're going backwards through time, through the chart here at all the things that I've been looking at personally. So just bear with me, okay? We have a high, higher highs, right? We're clearly in an uptrend right here, clearly in a downtrend. We have a high, lower high, lower high. So each time we made a higher high over here, we made a lower high on the relative strength index. Remember, the relative strength index shows you the relative strength of a token at its current price level. So if something is going up and going higher, but the strength is getting lower, that's an indicator that we may see bearish activity in the future, right? Let's look at that measured move, right? We come from here all the way down to those lows, 73%. We measure down to here, 79%. I don't even want to measure all the way down to these lows down here. That's huge. That's too huge to even comprehend, okay? So we'll just break down the next patterns that we looked at. The next pattern is known as a double top, okay? And I like to call it an M pattern when it plays out like this, okay? Not every time you see a double top, it's going to play out as a perfect M pattern, but this is a perfect world scenario where, you know, the M pattern played out to right where it began. So it began here at this level, and we got a perfect world scenario where we ended up coming down and hitting that target precisely, okay? So we had a high here, we come down, okay? We had another high here, and then ultimately we come down here after forming the double top, all right? Also in that moment, that's when we had the initial bearish divergence, okay? So we had this high here, lower high here, higher high here, and we got a nice drop to the downside. We can take a look at that measured move, and that was about a 20% drop. So the reason I'm showing you this is because this is very useful for, you know, let's say you're in a position right now, you're wondering, when is the time to take profit? What are some signals that we may see a move to the downside, right? You can combine chart patterns with the relative strength index and look for a divergence, okay? That's a great time to, if you're seeing any bearish chart patterns or you're seeing any bearish divergence, that's a great time for you to take some profit or maybe set a stop loss on and reevaluate and say, where do I feel comfortable entering back in case my stop loss hits, right? Because you don't want to get stopped out, buy right back in because you got stopped out. You want to actually have a plan. Give yourself an edge when trading. This is the way to give yourself an edge, okay? You have to be passionate. You have to look at this stuff, and it's not hard, okay? You can start to do this on your own as a beginner. This is what took my trading to the next level, right? Nobody on YouTube is out here telling you, oh, hey, there's a bearish divergence right here, so you may need to sell, right? What they're telling you is, oh, we have a high here, we have a higher high here, things are a buy. No, these are simple things that you can do. All you have to do is add the RSI, okay, and start and look for higher highs, lower highs, start and look for lower lows and higher lows, okay? Those are going to be easy divergences, all right? Once you get that down, you can combine that with chart patterns, and we're going to go over some more chart patterns right here, okay? We have a nice bull flag, okay? And you know, just like the bear flag, you're going to see a sharp move up, and you're going to see this bearish channel right here, this consolidation, this absorption. They're absorbing all of this recent price action to the upside. Once you get a breakout from that channel, you're going to have a very sharp move to the upside, right? We look here and we're seeing the same wedge patterns, okay? So right here, we have a nice move to the upside. We have a nice little wedge right here. Ultimately, we get the breakout from this trend line to the upside to get a very explosive move. But if you zoom in even more, okay, there was a rising wedge. So there's multiple trades, right? You can have a macro trade, and let's say you're looking for the big breakout of this pattern to the upside, right? You can hold throughout this, but let's say you caught here and you're riding this momentum up. All right, that was a very, very nice move. 56%. Okay. So let's take a look at that move right there. Okay. That was about a 27% drop. All right. So, you know, you can really use macro, micro patterns to really help yourself out. And that's all I wanted to explain in this video. All right. So if you found anything useful, smash the like button, subscribe, like I said earlier. And I do viewer requests every single week. So if you want to see your specific cryptocurrency, even a stock or a strategy, fundamentals, you want me to help explain, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do it for you as soon as I can.